AFK Journey is a brand new gacha game which officially launched on the 27th of March. And Lilith Games has once again sponsored the channel and given me the opportunity to play their game early and really test it out. So today we're going to be going through AFK Journey and is it worth playing? And I'm going to give my honest, genuine response to how I feel about the game after getting a chance to play the game. Thank you again Lilith Games for sponsoring the channel. Let's jump straight into it. The game starts out and basically you got Alzheimer's. That's probably the best way to put it because yeah, you can't remember anything. It's not like every other cliche intro because this dude generally has Alzheimer's. He keeps forgetting everything. Just like how I forget my car keys the literal moment I put them down on my desk. The game starts out and apparently there's a village, and this village is, well, it's on fire. That's the best way to put it. And our little friend called Chippy, well, he's about to get turned into a whole chicken nugget trying to put out this fire. What a brave soul. So, as the brave heroes we are, we actually opted out of trying to save the village, but this lady called Dolly is gaslighting me to go and save the village, even though I really do not want to. I'd rather just sleep, but no. She literally twisted my words to the point where like, I have to go save the village now. And you know what Dolly's going to be doing here instead? She's going to sit down and drink some tea while I risk my life putting out the fire. So one thing the game does extremely well is just putting you into the action straight away. No, well, there's no need to be fumbling around because the game throws you right in. But before we can go ahead and save the village, we have to use magic to change our appearance. Yes, we're using our canon magic abilities to change how we look. Jeez, if only I could do that in real life. That kinda sucks. Anyway, character customization. One feature I really like in this game, because unlike in a lot of gacha games, you would just get given a set character. Sometimes you just don't feel attached, or the characters that don't feel like yourself. Generally, main characters in gacha games are purposely designed to be very bland, so they can appeal to a large audience. But not in this game, you get to customize how you look right off the bat. I quite like this. More games should actually have this feature, and it does quite a good job of making you feel unique enough. So after successfully looks maxing over here, you get to name yourself, which is again a nice touch. You don't have to have a generic name like the Wanderer, Trailblazer, or the Traveler. I don't really get that creative here, I just call myself the Trailblazer. 10 out of 10 guys. After we named ourselves, we are on our merry way to stop this fire. And apparently we're best friends with this guy called Hogan for decades. Well, we look pretty good considering we're clearly very, very old. Now this game, if you can't tell by now, it just uses polish. Everything is just really satisfying to see. You can just zoom in and appreciate all the detail they really put in. Look at all these people's houses and all their belongings being burnt to ashes. You love to see it. Not the belongings being burnt to ashes, but you know, appreciating the detail that went into this. Everyone's trying to figure out who is behind this. And you know what? I do have my own theories. Because you see that duck? See that duck chilling over there? Well, this guy is just waddling about like it's a normal day. And not like his entire village is burning down. This guy is a bit too relaxed for my liking, okay? Something about this duck seems rather fishy. That was a terrible joke, because ducks are not fish. Chippy said a mage must have caused this, but I don't know, man. Keep an eye on that guy down there. After all of that, we meet this very suspicious lady, who everyone thinks started the fire. But more importantly, this lady is trying to riz me up. But joke's on her, because she doesn't know one thing. I'm afraid of women. Now, one thing I do gotta say is that cutscenes and the story presentation is top notch, especially compared to some other gacha games I've played recently, where, you know, the presentation of the story can be a bit stale and bland, and that's usually because it feels like I'm listening or reading a very bloated visual novel. This game has a lot better flow, and the voice acting is top tier, I would have to say. I feel like the pacing was very good, and it keeps you invested without having to sit through literal countless lines of dialogue. The way it presents the situation in the story is very ideal. That being said, during the climax of this village encounter, everything is going crazy. We have to enter the Avatar state in order to put this literal tornado into place. We are fighting a tornado, don't ask me. Anyway, then we collapse, and guess what? Alzheimer's kicks in, and we forget everything again. Now, I won't spoil the story for you. I think you guys should go and check it out for yourself. Something important we have to discuss before moving on with the game is that AFK Journey is actually a sequel to an older game you may or may not have heard of. That little game is called AFK Arena. It was a mobile game released way back in 2009. So this is Lilith's first big game release on desktop PC. And honestly, at first glance you wouldn't guess that this game is also available on mobile at the same time, but yes, it is. It is a seamless multi-platform game. Any OG fans of AFK Arena will be excited to see what the developers have been cooking up. Let's get back to it. Like I said before, this game is extremely polished. From the story and the cutscenes and just how animated the characters are, the game does a really good point about fleshing out the world without overly bloating everything around it. With that being said, I just want to jump into some of the good points about this game. Like I said, character designs. We are going to go through some of my favorite characters later on in the video, but for now, I just have to say, characters are designed fairly well. Now, like I touched on the presentation and the polish of this game, it is absolutely top tier. I have not played a game that looks this stylistically good and pleasing in a long time. The way the game looks and feels is unlike any other. Seriously, look at this. Tell me this game is not absolutely breathtaking.
You're breathtaking!
This game really sets itself apart from all of the other games in the genre at the moment because they all kind of feel the same. This game has taken the time to really make itself stand out from the crowd with its watercolor-esque design and the use of color and style. Personally, I am getting tired of the Unreal Engine Unity looking game that every other modern gacha game kind of looks like. So just on the visuals alone, this game is pretty good. A nice touch is that, you guys probably didn't realize this by now, but this is actually a mobile game. Well, yeah, it's a PC game as well, but it's cross-platform with mobile, so you can play on Android and iOS. The really good part about it is that the game basically adapts to the resolution really well. The problem when I'm playing a lot of these gacha games on mobile, the mobile gaming experience is just it's just doo-doo. That's a scientific way to put it. But with the way they designed this game, you can play in portrait mode. Playing a game in portrait mode, now that just sounds like a horrible idea. This game, they designed it very intuitively, where I actually enjoy playing on my phone, where I like to sit back, put my feet up, and actually just go play. They designed it extremely well, and I feel like this is something that definitely sets it apart from everywhere else. I feel like it's a very seamless experience, and it just works so well. Next we gotta talk about is the voice acting. The voice acting is pretty good. And I say that because usually I don't care about voice acting too much. Usually I just put all the voices in Japanese in the games I play, but I feel like they really did a pretty solid job in this game, where voices really fit the characters and they really help tell the story. Chippy sounds like a hamster, or whatever he's supposed to be. Yeah, it just makes sense. Characters sound like how they're supposed to sound. 10 out of 10. One thing I do like is the game's animation. Now, I don't mean just the character animations, because, you know, that's pretty bog standard. What I mean is the animations as a game as a whole. So whenever you open the menus, or when you win a fight, for example, and then go to the reward screen or the display screen, the way everything flows extremely nicely just looks superb. They really put a lot of effort into the presentation of this game, which is something that a lot of games honestly skip out on, but it just adds to the entire experience. Just look at how satisfying leveling up in this game is. Since we're talking about presentation, one thing I really do like about this game, and it's honestly very hit or miss in these games, but it's actually extremely important, so I don't know why some developers just rush it. In this game, the wishing animation is really cool. It's actually very fitting with the game itself, so I really do like that they actually put a bit of thought into it. Well, basically how the wishing screen works is this lady from earlier that tried to gaslight me throws a whole bunch of letters out the window and just kind of hopes someone picks it up. Depending on who picks up the letter is basically who you get. It's very original and creative, and I do like to see it. And this is clearly a very efficient process of delivering mail. I guess the real mail here in the UK can learn a thing or two. Another small point I would like to touch up on, the Chiron posting. I don't know if I said that right. These are basically little waypoints that other players can leave messages for you to read. So as you go by your journey, you can see what other people are saying. Usually it's just random dumb messages. But hey, I like seeing what people are saying. And sometimes you see some quite funny ones as well. Like someone said, "Where are the waifus?" But clearly, they haven't seen Cassidy. Now, I'm not going to touch on the characters yet, but I will go through some of my favorite character designs in a moment. But before we do that, we gotta talk about the combat. There is a isometric, hexagonal combat system. I may have said a lot of words, but I hope you understand what I mean. As the game kind of suggests, it is an AFK game, so it is somewhat of an automatic battle system. So for the 5 people that actually do want to use their brain when playing the game, you can decide when and where to use your character's ultimates, of course, or you can just be like me and do nothing and let the computer play the game for you. Because why would you use your brain? That's effort. But generally speaking, some of the harder fights, you do have to be more tactical and kind of decide what units you need to bring to the fight, because you can bring up to 5 units And they are of different classes. You do have your generic classes here, your fighters, your tanks, wizards, so on and so forth. And you need to make sure you use the right ultimates at the right time, managing your resources. Because going unga bunga in every single fight will only work for so long. Fights can be very unique, having different environmental hazards. Some fights may have explosive barrels, and some may have walls that separate your allies or the enemies. So you do have to think about the kind of strategy going in. You can see who the enemy is targeting and who your allies are trying to attack. So positioning them accordingly, for example, putting your archers or mages behind your tanks would be a good strategy, or not. Put them in the front row, see if I care. Some enemies even do get buffs based on their locations. So there is stuff you have to be mindful, or don't be mindful. That's how I play. So one cool thing I do like to point out in this game is that you can see other people while you play. Now, some of you guys may not think that's a big deal, but it is to me. I don't know why. After playing similar games in the genre, it can feel somewhat isolating sometimes, just because you don't see people wandering about. Now, this doesn't mean it's an MMO, but I do like to see other people's profiles and send them random messages like, do you like chicken nuggets? I only ask the important questions on this channel. On top of that, you also have a world chat, and once again I had to ask the oh so important question. Clearly people are very cultured when they play this game, because a lot of people really like chicken nuggets. So one interesting thing about this game is that you don't actually have to level up each individual characters. It's very unique, as I haven't played a game like this before. You have 5 slots, and you kind of level up the slot that the character stays in, and then you can hot swap the characters in and out of the slot. It's very nice because you don't have to repeatedly build characters again and again and again. And the same thing goes with equipment as well. You level up the class the characters are from. For example, you level up the warrior class with the equipment instead of having to level up and equip for each individual character. I really do like to see it, because it seems like they really thought about all the individual processes and really streamlined the experience. Now, a big point about these games are the characters. If the characters are not good, well, there's not much point playing them. And once again, I'd like to say the characters are pretty good. They're pretty good. They actually look very unique, because there's been a lot of anime gacha games lately, and sometimes it's very hard to make characters that really stand out from the crowd. I can happily say that all these characters stand out from the crowd because the entire art style fits extremely well. It suits the world that they are in. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean that all the characters from the multiple different regions, I believe they're about 5, feel very unique, and they really feel like they belong in the world. They don't feel like they've just been slapped into a generic anime world. Instead, each character feels like they fit whatever region they are from. You have everything from elves, humans, animals to undead. So the characters feel really refreshing. Just going through them, every character feels different. Yep, character designs are top tier in this game. No 2 character really looks or feels the same. They really did spend a lot of time fleshing out these characters. So if I'm going to go through my top 5 characters I've seen inside of AFK Journey. Are you guys ready? Alright, we're going to start off with number 5. I think number 5, we got to go for a fairly easy one to pick. Number 5 would probably be Atlanta. Pretty easy. You don't have to know why she comes in at number 5. One of the more simple designs. Coming in at number 4, we have this weird owl man. His name is Kafra, if I said that right. What is this guy? I've never seen this thing. I don't know what he is, but oh boy, he looks kind of badass. Number 3 would probably be Viperion. Kind of sounds very similar to Vaporeon, but they definitely can't be more different. This guy has a weird snake skeleton thing. He looks really cool. Stands out a lot from everyone else. I really do like the necromancer designs they have here. Very unique. Number 2 is Burial. Like I said before, just look at this guy. Look at him. I don't know what I'm looking at. These designs are very out there and they're very unique. Maybe a bit too unique. This guy's very uncomfortable to look at, actually. Why does he have a weird tail? What are those wings? What is she? And coming in at number 1 is Cassidy. I don't know. She's somewhat of a more generic looking character. But hey, it's my list. So deal with it. She's also a researcher just like me. So she like me for real, okay? Okay, now we have the most important part of this entire video. If you only watch like 2 minutes of this video, make sure it's this bit, because this is the reason I really like this game, and honestly, I will most likely keep playing this game when it actually comes out. So we have a little something called battle modes. This is the limited actions that you can do per day playing the game. We have 3 different options, well, at least unlocked in the early game, 3 more unlocks later on, but no way am I making it to the requirements in time, okay? So we have Dream Realm, which is basically a boss fight where you can see where you rank. So this is where you can kind of see how good your characters stack up to each other. You can see the leaderboard. So yeah, if you want to whale in this game, you can feel really rewarded, because I did only a measly 47,000 damage, and there's people over here doing a massive 299,000. So, okay, the second one, which is Arena, which is basically what it sounds. You can actually go up against other players. I don't know if they're playing against you live, but you basically go against their teams, you know, with your team. Again, something that will be probably really fun for whales, but you climb the ranks. Now, I don't know how fair this is in terms of like a gacha system, but you could just buy more units, but it's pretty fun. And having a good team comp really pays off. And knowing how to use the units is extremely effective here, as opposed to in the main game where I just kind of bunga bunga, throw all my units in and let them kind of do the work. But when I am playing these PvP modes, you gotta think about your formation and equipment. And finally, my favorite one, which is Honor Duel. It says ends in 45 days, but I really do hope they do make this a recurring thing. So the way this works is just absolutely genius. I absolutely love this mode, and I played it way too much. You basically go up against other players, and you have to get about 10 wins. I don't know what happens when you do get to 10 wins. I'm currently on like 5 out of 10. Now, Honor Duel is probably the best mode here. So you have to get a whole bunch of wins against other players. And how this works is that everyone is given a set of players. So this isn't a pay-to-win situation, since you are essentially kind of dealt a deck of cards. Depending how you build these characters which are given to you, and the chances you take on them is going to determine how good you can get. So if you're really good at the game and you can build really good teams, and you can kind of guess what the other guy is going to do and kind of counter-attack, then you can do well. What do you mean by counter-attack? Well, you go against other players, and then you can drop 3 units. And obviously the map changes based on whatever map is given to you. So I can put a tank, a wizard, and let's say a healer on. And maybe they chose 3 units which have a really obvious counter. I can place other units in a location or somehow to counter what they place. And obviously I gotta guess who else they're gonna put on. So you put 3 units and then you put the last 2, leading to your 5 units. It's really fun. And even the characters themselves can be attached with artifacts, which then amplifies them. These artifacts can give other units on your team benefits based on their starting location or improve their interaction. It's really good fun, and you basically got to see how many wins you can get, and managing this is really rewarding because it's not based on how many hours you put in the game, how much money you have in your credit card. It's something that really appreciates just how good you are at the game and how good you are at reading your opponent, and how good you are building team comps. Absolutely my favorite thing in the game, and I'll be playing it just for the battle modes. It's something that is done absolutely right, and honestly, you guys have to try it for yourself. Now, I play a lot of gacha games. It's probably not a good thing, but this game, after playing the game for a decent amount, I am excited for it to come out, because it's the kind of game that has a very seamless interaction between playing on PC and mobile. Like, I would love to play this game while I'm going for a walk, for example. The other day, I got stranded because my car broke, and I had to try playing Subway Surfers while walking, and I nearly got hit by a car. Wait, so maybe you shouldn't play games while walking. In conclusion, I would actually give this game a go. I do think it's worth a shot. Download the game, see if you like it. I know a lot of you guys out there play games on your phone, and this is the one mobile gacha game that I actually had a very good experience playing on my phone. I hate playing games on my phone, but this is the one game that kind of changed that for me, just because of how intuitive the game is. With all this being said, AFK Journey has just officially released across various countries and regions. During the official release, AFK Journey will give away more than 40 heroes of all qualities, including epic heroes, for free. allowing players to experience the full range of combat strategies at no cost. AFK Journey will give away all these heroes gradually, and furthermore, by logging in for 7 days and participating in various events, all players can get 200 plus draws for free. Download AFK Journey for free on both iOS and the Google Play Store, or go ahead and download it on PC on the official AFK Journey website.